Welcome to Weather with Enthusiasm. Tonight we go back more than a century, to November of 1913, when the Great Lakes met a storm so violent that sailors still call it by three names: the Big Blow, the Freshwater Fury, and the White Hurricane. Picture early November on the lakes. Shipping season is almost over. Freighters are racing one last load of coal, iron ore, and grain before ice closes the harbors. The air has been mild. On November 5th, Marquette hit 64 degrees, nearly 20 degrees above normal. Captains feel the pressure of the calendar. They put out. What they do not know is that two separate storm systems are about to stage a rare and deadly rendezvous. The first act arrives Friday, November 7th. A low-pressure system and an Arctic front push south out of Canada. The Weather Bureau hoists southwest storm warnings at 10 a.m. across the Great Lakes. By Saturday, winds shift northwest. Storm-force gusts of 50 knots or more batter Superior and Michigan. Snow squalls bloom. Freezing spray begins to coat steel hulls. Several ships are already damaged or driven aground. Historians call this the pre-storm. It is bad. It is not yet the main event. Sunday, November 9th, is when the atmosphere does something truly unusual. A second low, spinning up over the Carolinas and Virginia, intensifies and surges north. The two systems phase, merge into one meteorological bomb. Observed pressure near Erie, Pennsylvania drops to about 969 millibars, roughly 28.6 inches of mercury. That is a true bomb cyclone, more than 24 millibars of deepening in a day. As the new center charges toward the lower lakes, the wind field snaps into a nightmare geometry. For hours on end, hurricane-force gusts howl nearly straight down the long north-south axis of Lake Huron. That fetch, that unbroken run of open water, builds seas that freighter captains say the lakes are not ordinarily acquainted with. A National Weather Service retrospective simulation, a century later, reconstructed what those men faced. On southern and western Lake Huron, the evening of November 9th, wind gusts over 80 miles per hour, frequent waves to 36 feet, dominant wave periods around 10 seconds, steep, closely spaced, relentless. The Lake Carriers Association later wrote words that still stop a weather person cold. No lake master can recall in all his experience such a storm of unprecedented violence with such rapid changes in the direction of the wind and its gusts of such fearful speed. Storms ordinarily of that velocity do not last over 4 or 5 hours. But this storm raged for 16 hours continuously at an average velocity of 60 miles per hour, with frequent spurts of 70 and over. The testimony of masters is that the waves were at least 35 feet high and followed each other in quick succession, 3 waves ordinarily coming one right after the other. That short, steep wave train is a killer for long freighters. A ship caught in the trough can be rolled. At least 3 large vessels from this storm were later found upside down.
Now, the human cost. Official and near-official tallies settle around 250 lives lost on the lakes, possibly more because 1913 crew lists were imperfect. At least 12 ships sank. Roughly 30 more were driven ashore, crippled, or destroyed. Cargo lost ran to tens of thousands of tons of coal, iron ore, and grain. Damage estimates of the day were several $1 million, well over 100 million in modern terms. Lake Huron took the worst of it. In one roughly 6-hour window on the evening of November 9th into early November 10th, 8 freighters and about 187 souls went down on that single lake. Among the lost, the Argus, the Hydrus, the John A. McGeehan, the Isaac M. Scott, the Regina, the James Carruthers, the Wexford, and the Charles S. Price. The Price was found floating upside down in Lake Huron, a steel bulk freighter inverted by freshwater waves. On land, the same system buried cities. Cleveland recorded 22.2 inches of snow for the storm, including 17.4 inches on November 10th alone, shattering the previous 24-hour record. Winds there averaged about 49 miles per hour for 16 hours, with an extreme of 79. Buffalo saw an 80-mile-per-hour gust. Port Huron reported 4 to 5 foot snow drifts and water rising 4 to 5 feet above normal along the St. Clair River. Power failed for days. Travel stopped. And here is the forecasting tragedy that makes this story more than a casualty list. In 1913, there were no weather satellites, no radar, no numerical models, and no shipboard radio on most freighters. Gale and storm warnings could be hoisted at lakeside stations, flags and lanterns for vessels still in sight of land. Once a captain cleared the breakwater, he was alone with his barometer, his eyes, and the sky. The Norwegian cyclone model that would teach meteorologists to draw warm and cold fronts would not even be formulated until 1919. The U.S. Weather Bureau would not fully adopt frontal analysis until around 1940. The men on those freighters were fighting a storm the science of their day could not yet fully describe. A century later, NWS Detroit and NOAA partners rebuilt the event with modern models and the 20th century reanalysis. The simulation matched observed surface pressures closely enough that scientists trusted the wind and wave fields. It confirmed what survivors claimed: hurricane-force gusts for many consecutive hours, about 10 hours on Huron, longer still on Superior and Erie in the reconstruction, and maximum waves near 35 to 38 feet. Survivor estimates of 90-mile-per-hour gusts on Huron were judged not unreasonable. So what should a modern weather enthusiast take from the White Hurricane? First, Great Lakes November gales are not just lake weather. Open water, long fetch, and a deep cyclone can produce marine conditions that rival coastal hurricanes without the tropical name. Second, duration matters as much as peak wind. A 60-mile-per-hour average for 16 hours builds seas that a brief squall never will. Third, steep, short-period waves are more dangerous to shipping than long ocean swell of the same height.
Communication and forecasting save lives. The disaster of 1913 helped drive improvements in Great Lakes weather warning and marine safety that we now take for granted. When we talk about the Edmund Fitzgerald in 1975, we remember a single ship and 29 men. The White Hurricane of 1913 was that kind of night, multiplied across 4 lakes, a dozen hulls, and roughly 250 souls. Most of them never came home. Some of those wrecks still lie in the cold dark of Lake Huron and Superior, including sites protected today in places like NOAA's Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary.
This has been Weather with Enthusiasm. Sources for this episode include National Weather Service Detroit and Gaylord historical analyses, the NOAA Great Lakes White Hurricane Retrospective Model Study, and contemporary Weather Bureau station reports from Cleveland, Buffalo, Port Huron, and Sault Ste. Marie. Background music is Our Names Engraved by Blue Dot Sessions, used under their attribution non-commercial terms, credit at Sessions.